Welcome to the webinar with us here at BSBI. What we're going to be covering here is, well, what it's like studying at BSBI, which is one of the things that a lot of people would like to know, as some of you would be applying from abroad, coming to a whole new country and wanting to understand what kind of process it would be, what experiences you'll have, and what support you would have throughout the process. So here at Berlin School of Business and Innovation, we empower people from across the world, as I said, with students from all different countries around the world. And we like to realize their full potential so that they could achieve all their career goals, whether you aspire to work within a big company or looking to have a startup. So this is what we're all about here at BSBI, and we like to make sure that we provide all the resources and be as transparent as possible for you guys to make a decision as to moving to Berlin and studying with ourselves, which is a very big decision and can be difficult, which is why we're here to provide you with all that information. There with me. So just to introduce myself, as you can see from the photo, it is relatively old and I have a bit more hair now. So my name's Ali Selman. I'm the head of recruitment here at BSBI. I've worked at BSBI since the very beginning, and I have over 7 years experience within the higher education sector. So those of you may have already spoken to program consultants, so they all work under my remit. So I'm the head of recruitment and I manage all the program consultants to make sure you're advised accordingly and any questions are answered. We also do have Dr. Anastasios Fontis, if I pronounce it correctly. Unfortunately, unfortunately, his webcam is not working at the moment, so you won't be able to see him, unfortunately. You're going to be stuck with myself. Professor, would you like to introduce yourself and a bit more about your background?
Yes, it's good. The picture that you have is nicer than the reality. So
yeah.
These pictures are. Thank you for your introduction, Ali, and welcome you all from my part. I have a double, let's say, background, also academic and business. I have studied physics. I have done an MBA and a DBA. And I am alumnus of the Harvard Kennedy School in the Program for National and International Security, and of INSEAD, which is one of the biggest, let's say, business schools. I have done a special long program there, and I joined BSBI practically as a freelancer initially back in 2019. And in between, of course, I'm working also in the industry with international assignments in general management, marketing, supply chain, and sales of chemicals and industrial minerals. I lived 5 years in China. I studied in the States and in Europe. And I am quite versatile, let's say, in the world of business, but not only. And my current position that I'm following, it is since the 10th of June. It is I am the program coordinator, let's say, practically, or the program leader, let's say, better to say, or the undergraduate studies director practically within BSBI. We are covering, we have a part of the BA that we're doing here in economics with focus in business management, as well as a foundation course and a pre-master's, a short pre-master's course for the students that they would like to continue. I'm teaching also in 3 masters that we are doing actually here under the platform of BSBI in health management, in the MBA for maritime and shipping operations, and also online and physically the course that we are having for hospitality, tourism, and tourism management. This is
great.
just an introduction, and just we can discuss more about all these things in due course. Yeah.
Well, as you said, Professor, you have a whole load of experience, not just academically, but also business-wise, which is what we stand for here at BSBI. We believe it's great to have the academics, but it's also great to have the first-hand knowledge which is what most employers look for. But thank you very much for all of that. I'm sure people have a lot of questions with regards to everything that you've mentioned. But just to highlight as well, guys, if you do have any questions, we will be covering this at the very end. But you're more than welcome to type your questions now if you have anything just to ask just before this, but we will cover it all at the end. So on to the next area. So what we're going to cover is the agenda. Of course, some of you are quite concerned with regards to COVID-19 and what impacts it has in terms of applying, registering, studying in itself as well. But we'll be able to give you that peace of mind just to establish BSBI is still running as per usual. There's no difference other than limitations with on campus, but we will accommodate all students. So we'll run into that as well. We'll also run into the academic support, which works side by side with COVID as well, as I'm sure the professor will be able to highlight a little bit more as to what support we provide. We also will run through student engagement activities. So just the activities that we do have for students to get them networking and mingling a little more, just to kind of grow their experience and have a better understanding of different industries. And we will then run through key information for applicants. So some of you may have already begun your application, completed it, or looking for a bit more information when completing it. So I'll be able to run through any information with regards to how to complete, what to do, if anything's outstanding, and also to answer any questions, which goes to my final point. Once again, we'll have a final stage where it'll be Q&A, so you could ask myself or the professor questions. The professor will be able to answer the academic sides, and I'll be able to answer everything else in terms of admissions process and any questions you may have. So just to start off with, online study experience during COVID-19. So COVID-19, of course, it has impacted everywhere in the world, in businesses, schools, everything as such. But here at BSBI, we have been continuing as usual, working from home, as you can see, sometimes on campus, depending on the services who's going to be coming in. But nothing has stopped for ourselves. We still have students contacting us. I have all my advisors working from home, so it's the same working hours. They still get calls, still get emails, and I'm sure you're still getting responses, which I hope you are. So 2020 has brought with it many challenges, but with each challenge comes an opportunity to grow and innovate. So that's why we have embraced these changes and created new ways to connect, learn, and engage with our growing student community. So I can say from my end, with all my program consultants, despite all the issues with COVID, the restrictions, nothing has paused for BSBI. BSBI always planned ahead. We always planned everything in advance when everything started happening. If anything, I believe we're one of the only institutions that started doing online induction. So anyone who wanted to study in May, we've actually inducted them online. So they start their studies online, continue as usual. They still have access to all resources, and we created all the online, all the studies to become online. So I believe, Professor, you guys do Zoom meetings and you do quite a few activities as well to get the engagement from the students. How was your experience for the online teaching with the students?
The reality it is that BSBI was better than expected prepared, because the concept that we are applying is the one of blended learning. So that means that if the students will have the opportunity to go on our internet page, there you can see that we are offering access, for example, with the cooperation that we have with Unituno, to a platform for the BA. I'm just taking as an example, but this is also valid for the postgraduate degrees. We are having already asynchronous teaching from other tutors that they can follow in parallel to our physical room teaching. What is happening practically, the students, they were already acquainted with logging in online and following instructions, let's say, to download material and to study additionally to our physical teaching. Since March, what is happening practically, you are right, we live day and night with Zoom.
Yeah.
We had a success story here because I compared this. I made a part of my physics studies here in the Free University of Berlin, which is one of the best in Germany. And I know many people who are working there. And the problem that they had it took them almost 2 to 3 weeks to switch in many things. We have managed this switch within a weekend. It was a panic
Yeah.
weekend from Friday to Monday, but I remember myself I should travel to Berlin. I do not travel there in March, at the end of March. They switched on at 9:15 in the morning, taking the first academic 15 minutes, and I had the students, the majority of them, in front of me, and these were the students that 1 month before we were making a health management lesson. So it was not somehow a surprise, but it was something making business as usual. What you mentioned, you are right. We are focusing on giving the material in all the degrees, even preemptively, let's say at the beginning. Although there is some criticism that in some cases that if you give the material to the students, they will not log in. This is not the case. The people are going, practically the students are logging in because they would like to interact with us. It is practically an ongoing process. It creates some problems in some cases that we solved also. This is an interesting experience also in some subjects like mathematics, for example. So it is tough always. But we have excellent instructors from several countries that they are teaching online. Actually, I'm mentioning this because we have somebody from Finland, which is considered to have one of the best educational systems worldwide with all these PISA studies. And he's teaching with a special software this subject of mathematics. It's very interactive. The students, they really like it. And if you go to in YouTube and you put BSBI you don't write anything and then maths, you can see already some of the things that we started uploading for the students there for the everyday use. So it is not said a so bad experience as expected. We were better prepared than others. And on top of this, in order to enhance the experience, because we have the possibility in Germany still to do some physical teaching, we are making labs. So many schools from other universities that they have somebody studying engineering, for example, the students should have the possibility to go in a lab to make some experiments. We keep social distancing, we keep all these rules, of course, that they apply from the country's government here, but we have the possibility to make some interactive courses like workshops and labs, also about HR matters, human resources, some things about negotiation, for example. We can do this in the campus. If you go back on the site about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we organized one of them for the health care management again. And imagine the public there are doctors of medicine, nurses, pharmacists, and we were all of us with the masks. It creates some problems, but you can still interact in a very enjoyable manner. So, as said, we had the experience with the blended learning. We could transfer this to Zoom and continue the physical, in brackets, so practically learning normally, plus the physical workshops that we are making under the restriction that we have. So the students come here on campus at 2 o'clock local time when we will finish this nice webinar. I have one of the BA classes and we have an interactive workshop to see some things that they can do online themselves and to hear from them how is the experience. So we split them in smaller groups. If there are under 25, we can meet in a room, and by keeping the restrictions, as said, of under this COVID-19 perspective, let's say, and,
Perfect.
by way of life. Yeah,
it's always great, and obviously it's quite a lot to be taken on board because a lot of other institutions are providing more or less just online, if online is actually available. But we're trying to give a good combination, well, with the safety of well, students in mind, especially the ones on campus. But I believe that the name of our school kind of speaks for itself, innovation. So it's the same as any business, any workplace you go into. You could be hit with something and you have to work on your feet. You have to find the solutions for issues instead of focusing on the issue. So this is what we've done now. So you can see I'm in my living room at the moment. So this is the solution to the issue. And the same way as we've allowed students to not delay their studies and begin their studies and still get the same support, despite whether they're on campus or not. So there's a lot of activities, there's a lot of innovation involved. The same way as you said, Professor, rightly, is that we tackled it straight away, and some other schools did not, because we believe in the quality given to the students with the limitations at the moment. It can be tough, but this is why we provide as much as we do now, online, Zoom, some practical as well. So we like to keep the engagement quite high and make sure the students still get the experience they deserve, even if some of our students are actually studying online back home, whether it's in India, Nigeria, Lebanon, a variation of different countries. They're all studying from home in May until the borders open up for them to be able to continue their studies on campus. But thank you for that insight. It was very useful, especially for myself as well.
That's good.
I learn a new thing every day.
Yeah.
So with regards to this, obviously you've kind of touched on it, Professor. We have BSBI offers undergraduate and postgraduate in business and leadership, which is aimed at developing the next generation of leaders who are capable of shaping the future in business and enterprise. We firmly believe in academic support. Before COVID, we used to take students out for to see businesses, companies, have tours, understanding, see the heritage, how it built. And it's really important to have that engagement, especially have that support for students who are coming from abroad, especially who are getting a visa, coming to study, or students who may struggle slightly to do online because they're used to the interaction. This is where we make sure that every student does get this. So what kind of academic support do you think, Professor, would be provided to these students? I believe you covered quite a lot.
Yeah, I start from one thing, which is really an innovation. You have to think, and this is something that we forget to say, not forget, practically we neglect somehow, that the people, all the students that they are studying here, they're becoming a unique opportunity, not only to study here, but to have a longer residence afterwards. Which for the ones that we offer German courses, of course, and we are trying to improve this strongly, because Germany has a unique culture and is influencing many things. The people, they can stay here up to 18 months, usually historically after 3 or 6 months. If you are not a European Union citizen, the governments across the European Union, they were asking you to leave the country. So we are giving, so practically we have a special, I would say, good man deal with the local government here in the Senate, as they call it in Berlin, which is a very big advantage for the students, because they can continue living here, looking for jobs, applying. I finished last week, I was supervising a master thesis of an Indian student who had already become, despite the difficulty of the times and the insecurity, employment in the city of Magdeburg. Here is 160 kilometers from here. And he had a permanent employment. He's an engineer, and he has done the global MBA, for example. This is the one part. We are trying also to enhance the experience by, in some cases, bringing online specialists. We were trying and planning to do some activities also. I will give you the example that we are having with the MBA in shipping and maritime business. It's a small class. And we are planning to visit in the next months the harbor of Hamburg. So even because of COVID, you can make a nice tour, go to the practically to see how the real operations are. We have some contacts at school there also with some of the practitioners, or even we are thinking, if it will be easy, to fly to Greece in October. You see my name, I have a double passport. I have a German and a Greek passport, because in Greece we have the biggest exhibition for the shipping industry worldwide, always 2 years, with a 2 years period. And this will take place in October. So we have the possibilities with at a relatively low cost. We're trying to make some budgeting, so to offer to the students the possibility to have the hands-on experience. When the campus will reopen normally and we can have some lectures, this is what was happening, let's say up to March from time to time, or these workshops, we will continue making this. So there are several options, and plus what you said, Berlin is a unique city. It is the city of startups. Even now, with in the digital era, many things are taken. Also, you can receive invitations from different initiatives that they exist in the city to get informed, to find financing for your own digital business. So there are several options that somebody has here within the city of Berlin, practically.
Okay, thank you. Well, as you can see, guys, there's a lot lined up for all of our students, and with academic support wise, like I said previously, it's all about the academics, and not just the academics, but actual experience. So that would be fantastic if they go to Greece, see one of the biggest import-export countries, and have a better understanding of these kind of things, because it's all part of a course. So it's all great and good to just do the academics, you get the knowledge, but we firmly believe in getting that exposure, that experience, and seeing things for yourself. Some of you, if you study a course, you may not have worked within the industry, but you've only done the academic side, but you have a keen interest for it. This is a great way to kind of establish as well what area of that field you would be interested in. So, for example, if you're doing, let's say, marketing, there may be a particular area of marketing. Maybe you want to work within SSO, or SEO, or PPCs, or any particular campaigns, or maybe you want to do focus groups, more or less. It gives you that experience of everything within the course to establish what the major is you want. What is the biggest thing you're trying to take back? Sometimes we study and we don't know exactly what it is we want to do, but we know the field. This is where the first-hand experience and the actual attendance of such things, or seeing companies, seeing what they do, where they're from, and learning a bit more, you may establish exactly what you want to do. I know when I was in university, I had no clue what I wanted to do. I just kind of fell into this, but it was a good thing in my eyes. So I've been doing this ever since. So thank you for that. It was very informative.
I would like just to add one point here, because you mentioned one very interesting thing. The master thesis that our students are doing, and also as well many of the dissertations are of very practical nature. So we're cooperating with some companies. They find local people that to speak about. They make their questionnaire, the primary data, and everything in a manner which is really very practical. So that's why I'm saying basically, yeah, there are several opportunities to have, despite the difficulties, as we said, of the COVID-19, the hands-on experience still virtually, let's say, and you can speak with very interesting people from the industry. So just giving this as a plus, let's say, to the previous points that I mentioned.
Yeah, of course, and it could give you some great inspiration. Previously, we had, I forgot what he was. He was the creative director of Red Bull, who was with us and gave talks and really encouraged people. I was there, and it was quite motivating. It was great to see someone with such passion giving people opportunities, and it's a great way of networking as well to do this, because you never know what can come of it. But thank you for that. It is definitely very useful to know. So with regards to student engagement activities, although there are new limitations on how we could connect with BSBI, we're still focused on continuing the engagement factor, as we believe it's really important and helps an individual really grow and develop. We understand in some scenarios we have to do the interactive side of things, but we still want that physical factor. We still want to create it, whether it's video calls or doing small events where we could have a set number of people on campus, or possibly even just do it through a Zoom meeting or some form of online, just to get that interaction and that experience with other students, because this is where you want to start growing and get to know people. You don't want to come into the campus eventually and you want to be able to put a face to a name and finally actually see that person. So hopefully soon enough that can happen. By taking our events online, students can continue to interact, as mentioned, and participate in careers workshop, Q&A, with academic teams, student council events, mental health, well-being, and talk and much more. So we do have a lot of online activities which are occurring. Obviously, we have limitations, but we like to make sure every student still gets that experience. As I said, you'll find a lot of friendships are really formed as well. So despite within the Zoom meetings or anything, you could create some friends. Some of them create WhatsApp groups. Some of them start speaking to each other, whether they are abroad or based in Germany. It's irrelevant. You still have that great bond with these individuals, and the meetings are really great. It's for your experience, and you can start preparing your CV. You can start applying for jobs as well within that time period. So you never know what opportunity will arise. So it's really important to always be engaged, because BSBI gives you those resources. You just need to proactively engage in them. And I definitely do encourage it. It'll give you a lot of opportunities, a lot of experience. And also it's for yourself to actually feel like you're studying, to feel like you're doing something productive, you're getting to know people, and it prepares you for when you come to Germany if you are not already based there.
I have one point which is also interesting. We have even a football team, you know, which is very active. If you go online on Facebook, you will see it's an initiative by the student council. So because in the open air activities, let's say, they are allowed. So it's not just to be within four walls, say, practically, or making the classical teaching, but there are many opportunities, as I said, by the student council, which are, let's say, extracurricular activities or team building, let's say, activities in some cases, which are very interesting. And the cooperation, especially with the student council, is excellent, because we are, especially myself, because of the BA, where we have the majority of the students, they are practically contributing to the in order to help this in the newer students, the incoming intakes practically that we are having, to improve their learning experience, and they exchange, you know, notes, presentations, information about the courses if they lost one online course. So it's a very, very, very enjoyable, let's say, experience, and a dynamic one.
Yeah, of course, it definitely would be. It's great. We have a football team. Hopefully, we're quite good. Maybe I'll join that myself. I don't mind. I'm quite good at football, I'd like to believe, but we'll have to see in time. So let's go on to key information for applicants. So of course, for those of you who are applicants, which would be a majority of you, we do have upcoming intakes, which is October 2020 and February 2021, which are the most recent ones. But we do also have actually August for those of you who've applied for CUC programs. But these are the most popular intakes. October and February are the most popular. So we do have an admission process. Those of you may have a conditional offer letter, confirmation of registration. If you have a conditional offer letter, it should mean your academic requirements have been met, but we may still require a reference or personal statement or English proficiency if required. If you have a COR, which is a confirmation of registration, it could mean we're pending reviewing your academic criteria to make sure that academia meets the requirements of that course, or it could be we're still waiting on a transcript or a final qualification. If you are our unconditional offer letter, that is great. You're at the very last stage. All that is required is the deposit. What we tend to say is make the deposit as soon as you are conditioned on a conditional offer letter, because by then you've been met academically, and it's just the other areas which need to be covered, which aren't that hard. The main area is the academic side, just to make sure you're eligible for the course. But generally, I fully encourage you to speak to your program consultant straight after this. Drop them a message, say to them, I have been on the webinar with Ali Salman. What is remaining? If you do not remember what's remaining, please check your offer letter. Your offer letter will indicate what outstanding documents are left for you to be unconditionally accepted. So complete and submit your application if you have not done so already. Admission will give you a decision. So those of you who haven't completed it yet, if you begin online, you have to submit all the documents. Once you submit them all, it will go to admissions. Admissions will review the application, and then they'll give you, like I said, either a COL or COR, conditional offer letter, or a confirmation of registration. Or if you submit everything at once and you have it all, it will be an instant unconditional offer letter. So once you're accepting our offer of admissions, you'll get your admission letter, and then you apply for your student visa when, of course, things open up. But I do know for some countries, the visa office actually opened up or is opening up where it allows you to apply for visas now. So we're looking at October intake, but bear in mind, guys, do not worry if you do not get your visa in time, because the embassy fully understands, so do BSBI. We had quite a large number of students register online for our May intake. So most of the students who weren't able to make it because they don't have a visa or don't have an appointment, they actually just begun their studies online. So from May onwards, some students are actually studying whatever country they're in, and they all received a letter from the dean of the school and the co-founder stating that a physical presence letter, which means we do require you on campus, which you submit when you're applying for your visa as well. So as long as you study around 6 months within Germany, you will be eligible to still come to Germany to complete your studies. But of course, it still goes through the visa process where the embassy must approve it. But they are aware of the current situation. So now is the time to secure your opportunity. Do not delay it any further, because I know if we continue to delay it based on COVID, all that's going to happen is that you're not going to pursue what you really want. You need to start it now. Just get onto it. It may be a bit scary at first, but I can assure you, you'll enjoy it, you'll stay productive, you'll learn as much, and it will give you that advantage. Those are the people who are waiting. Those people are going to be waiting when there's no job opportunities afterwards. If you begin now and you complete your studies, there'll be more opportunities for yourself, because you would have continued your studies and gained more qualifications than those who have been waiting. So it's a great opportunity. So right now, secure your places, guys. It costs nothing to submit your documents. All you have to do is pay a deposit. Once you pay your deposit, you've secured your place. We work on a first come, first served basis, and any offer that is being offered to you right now, take it, because we do have some offers, I believe, which are running for this month, but you must secure your place and make the payment this month in order to be entitled to it. So that is the key areas of applicants. Don't hesitate. Just get on with it, get the application in, finalize the process, and then see how you feel then. I could assure you, once you become unconditionally accepted, it becomes also real. All that is remaining is pay if you have not paid yet, and then you instantly become a student of BSBI, which is an opportunity for you to grow and develop yourself as an individual with BSBI. So I think we've kind of come to the end of the road, but this is the opportunity for you guys to ask all the questions that you do have. I do see quite a few questions already. If you do have any questions, please do type them through, and I'm going to run through some of them now. Whether it's academic, whether it's about paying, whether it's about visas or study, we'll be able to answer your questions right now. So please do type your questions. I will start off with the very first one. Thank you for this program. I am a graduate on a bachelor's in information technology. I have 2 years working experience in marine engineering, and I applied for a master's in maritime and shipping management in your school. My question is, do I need to run postgraduate program in maritime and shipping management before going on to the master's program? No, actually you don't. As long as you have an undergraduate program which makes you eligible for the course, as long as it's the equivalent of, let's say, a 3 years undergraduate degree, a 3 years UK undergraduate degree, you would be eligible to go straight into the maritime. So you don't need to do undergrad. As long as you have an undergraduate qualification within any field, you should be accepted onto the course, but this is for admissions to decide. So if you've completed your application or not yet, please submit. Professor, anything you would like to add on that?
This is a good point. That's why I told you we face the problem from some cases from time to time with some programs that they may be a bachelor's, that perhaps the students, they may be missing some one or two courses. That's why we have created the pre-masters, which is a general introduction, like small, I will not call this MBA, but a small BA, practically running for some weeks, where they touch the issues of marketing, strategy, and finance. But as the case is, as I heard this here, with IT, practically, if it is a recognized, let's say, degree, it's not an issue to pass this course. Because I have in the current course 3 people with mechanical or maritime engineering, and 2 of others who are graduates of the Naval Academy. So it is not an issue. It will run smoothly, let's say, the application. But we have this backup with the pre-masters in order to bridge some knowledge gaps that they may exist, and usually there is not, as Ali mentioned, a problem through the admissions.
Yeah, exactly. So we do have the pre-masters program where we do get quite a few students on it. It's unfortunate because some of the academic criteria of the equivalency is slightly different. You may have not covered particular modules, but we do have the pre-masters, which allows you to jump onto that course. So the pre-masters is an access course, as you said rightly, Professor, a bridging course which allows you to go straight onto the masters afterwards. So even if you don't meet the criteria fully, you may be eligible for the pre-masters, which, as you said, it will allow you to go onto the course, but you should be okay. As long as you submit your application, admission will be able to review and give you a final answer. But even then, you may not have to do the pre-masters.
No.
So when are we going to start?
This is rarely the case. This is rarely the case. We had just from the, if I remember well, 100 something new intake people, just 6 that they had to do it.
Yeah, there wouldn't be much.
So, yeah, it's not so much.
There wouldn't be much. I think it was out of around 200 students or so, but there was barely any who need to do a pre-masters, because generally people do get accepted. So another question, when are we going to start the course? Well, the course, as I said, we do have the October and February intake, but the actual course start date will be around, you'll do your induction for a few weeks, and then the course will start, because we're doing online at the moment, and we're just seeing what's going to happen with COVID, and if we're going to open up, what's happening with the visas. So we're still planning that around, but the courses are continuing as usual based on the intake dates. So rest assured that we are running as usual, exactly the same as we have if it was on campus. The only difference is we're doing it online. So is classroom studies scheduled for October 2020, or due to COVID situation, it is deferred? Professor, I believe what we're doing at the moment, depending on what the current situation is, we will continue to do online studies. However, this depends based on individual countries as well. So what we do as well when we set the timetables is we look at which countries all the students are from, to get to put all those students from a similar time zone into one cohort. Is that correct, Professor?
Yes, this is the case, and actually I have already from one of the master degrees, we have already out of the 17, and we have already 4 people who are coming to Germany, although they started, let's say, 1 month before. It was the 29th of June that they started. It was the main intake, because they have done, as you said, their preparatory part with the study skills and some other things that we are offering. Already people start moving in. By moving in, I repeat it, it does not mean that as long as we are under the COVID-19 status, that you will have the courses all in the campus, but we find ways with some of the practical things, as said, with some workshops and with some labs, to deliver part of this experience in the campus. But this is not a problem practically to come in, because you are allowed to come in. You have done the necessary paperwork, and sooner or later it starts to run in a more let's say natural way, because you are in the same time zone. This is the time zone that you mentioned. It is always a problem. I have to start at 9 o'clock in the morning for me, and I'm riding every time. good morning, afternoon, evening.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm having people up to somewhere. There was somebody from Philippines, I think. So I know that they were so
Yeah.
practically when we finish, it's evening for them. So,
So
but
it's Philippines,
yeah,
Latin America, a big
yeah,
variation of different countries.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, to answer the question, we do the timetables are released closer to the time of the closing of induction. So just because we need to make sure we could cater to every individual. So yes, generally we do have the timetables available, but closer to that time. Next question, when the borders will be opened and international students will be allowed to enter Germany? It's a tricky one. It's not one I could answer myself, but Germany will take people on as long as they are put in the all clear area. So see it this way, Germany will accept anyone as long as they start taking visa appointments or you are put in as you're fine to travel. So it really comes down to the embassy and country. So Germany is fine, but it depends on the country you're coming from. So that's the main area to really consider. So I wouldn't be able to give you an answer on this, unfortunately, but hopefully I see things progressing quite well, so we should get results. When will the decisions related to our application be made? Asking as someone who submitted his application 3 weeks ago. That is very interesting to actually say, because I'm sure if you checked your junk mail, you may have an answer with regards to your application. If you have not received any response, speak to your advisor. If you have not had a response from your advisor, which is very unlikely, I find it very hard to believe you haven't heard from anyone for 3 weeks. But if you could please email info@berlinsbi.com. Just send us an email with your details and we'll be able to check that. Or just send it to myself, which is ali_selman@berlinsbi.com. I'll be happy to look into it. But I'm very sure you may have already received it, and just double check your junk mail just in case, because it doesn't take 3 weeks. It usually takes a maximum of 48 hours. Unless you haven't provided your passport, we would not be able to register you. So which semester will be on campus, November 2020 or February 2021? Again, this all comes down to what the current scenario is. So we can't predict how the pandemic is going to be, but we can predict that we will continue for online, but we also will have some form of on-campus as well. Those of you who have visa restrictions and need to apply for a visa, plan to do some of your studies online and the remainder on campus.
Just one comment on this. We are operating with terms. So we follow, let's say, more this Anglo-Saxon model. So we have three terms, 4 terms practically. Just, but okay, the question is understandable because it's about the semester and everything. But yeah, just
perfect. Thank you. Good to know on the terms basis. And then the next question: how can I apply for a student visa? Which embassy is open and accepts student visa applications? I know, for example, some regions in Africa, for example, Ghana reopened. I believe India is going to reopen very soon, or it already has. But I would definitely say just double check with your local embassy. Check VFS online and find your local embassy and see if they're accepting appointments, or contact them. I wouldn't know off the top of my head, unfortunately. So with the new online classes, what happens to those who will have work and pay their tuition fee? They still get a place to work or get online job as well? Well, we still support all the students in the exact same way. So with regards to studies will be online. You'll still have access to career services. You'll still have access to everything we have and offer. So on campus and online students, it's exactly the same. With regards to work, you can work online if the company we have partnership with or roles would be online. But there's a lot of companies who are advertising online work at the moment. So it depends on what's available. I want to know more about living costs. You could always look at living costs in Germany. So living costs, if you're based in Germany or looking at visas, you could search it online, or you can look at our partners. So we have, I believe, 2 or 3 accommodation partners in which you'll be able to double check what they have, and they are given discounts. But this is only given once you have your BSBI student ID. So with regards to accommodation, this depends on how you want to live. there's shared, there's family shared, there's individual, there's studios, there's dorms, dorms in terms of with other partners, not within BSBI, but there's quite a few for you to pick from. I am Fabian. I have my offer letter and I only required to make a deposit. If I will be allowed, as said earlier, I would like to defer to next February or August, as you said. Well, you do have those other intakes depending on which intake you're actually on, Fabian. Same thing, if you could email info@berlinsbi.com, we'll be able to look into that, or email your advisor just to request them to do so. So that should be fine, it's not a problem. Let's continue on. When I was applying for on the only intake period available was October 2020. Will it be possible to change Feb 2021? Yes, same thing. Email your advisor, they'll be able to make that change for you. Do you have pharmaceutical courses? Unfortunately, we do not have pharmaceutical courses, but we will have quite a large number of courses which are coming in by next year. So beginning of next year, well, we will start advertising it soon, but unfortunately not pharmaceutical. Kindly on student support, is scholarship one of them? Scholarship is not part of student support. Student support, when we refer to that, is the resources that we give. But student support, you could always, with regards to scholarship, you can look on our website. It shows you all the criteria which needs to be met. We do provide scholarships, but this is on the basis of which scholarship you're applying from, and it's based on merit and also experience, and there are some other factors to consider. Okay, hello Jerry, I applied for a BA administration. My question is, what time are we looking for embassies reopening? I cannot answer that, unfortunately. I cannot speak for the embassy. I wish I knew. If I knew, I'd advertise it everywhere. My brother has a degree in business administration, can study a master's in pharmaceutical course or go straight to his master's in the field. Despite what the degree is, he can study with ourselves as long as the academic criteria is met in terms of level of studies. But, however, we do not have pharmaceutical. Are there any scholarships that cover tuition fee? Same answer, go onto our website, make sure you meet the criteria and you'll be able to apply through there. I don't have proof of the English language, so what should I do? We do have an internal password test. So it's very similar to the IELTS. We do it internally. It costs 45 euros because right now, of course, some of you cannot book IELTS. So this is the quickest and cheapest method. So you could always contact your advisor, just ask them with regards to this and they'll be able to help you. And thank you for all the information. It has been really useful. Could I please shed a light on the COVID-19 impact of different masters, in my case MBA? Could you maybe do differentiation between time spent on campus and online? As an international student, I would like to know if I can start my online course at home and when I go to Berlin, in case there is something on campus starting on October. Thanks. Very detailed. But I think I could partially answer that question. I'm pretty sure I know what the answer is. But yes, you can study online from home. And once the borders open, you could continue your studies on campus. So there's no problem with that whatsoever. So with regards to percentage, the percentage really only depends on, depends if you require a visa, and the percentage really just depends on when you could actually arrive on campus. So I could tell you 30% of your time is going to be online, but if you require a visa, I can't give you a percentage because I do not know when your border will open, when appointments will be taken, or when your visa will be approved. But we say the minimum, minimum time that you could spend in Germany is 6 months. So some students will study from home for 3 months, a semester or so, and then come and study with ourselves. But Professor, do you have anything to add from there?
No, this is the context. I'm saying to every student when they are getting accepted to try to come as fast as possible to Germany, because this makes things much easier. As I told you, I have a positive experience. After 1 month, we have almost, let's say, somehow the 25–30% of the class moving already to Germany. Because it's completely different with things, and this is making the whole administration issues much more smooth.
Yeah, Perfect, thank you. As per my understanding, only reference letter is pending. Can I know, please, the true status of my application? Well, the status of your application is a reference, I presume, if you haven't provided it yet. But once again, email your advisor and they'll be able to give you an update, or email info@Berlin SBI. Is it possible to speak with some students who are currently followed on MBA at BSBI? Yes, once again, email your program consultant. They'll be able to arrange that for yourself. We do have quite a few student ambassadors as well. Is there any chance of getting jobs on campus selection basis? This all comes down to the employer. So we give you the opportunities, we guide you in the right direction, but you need to sell yourself. So we could help you with interview preparation, CVs, and we know what the companies would look for. So we have professionals within that field who help you, but it's down to you at the very end, but we can still give you the guidance. Are students from India expected to join in October the classroom studies? I'm not quite sure. With regards to India, I know that visa bookings may be coming up very soon. However, we do need to consider the time period it takes for a visa to be approved. So you will be studying online until you could study on campus. What if I don't want to start online studies after paying initial deposit? What other options is there? Well, unfortunately, there's not many options, because online studies is the only form to begin your studies, but what you can do is defer your studies. So you could defer it until you could actually study on campus.
But on this point, just I mentioned this at the very beginning, do not mix we have the concept of blended learning. So even if you make Zoom classes, these are real classes. You cannot just be in the same room. So it's another level of interaction. It's not that we record videos as it's happening in some of the platforms, or as you may know from many platforms of MOOC, like I forgot the name, Coursera or ETX and this. These are physical, interactive classes practically, but we cannot be in bigger classes when we have 45 students or in the same room. So just clarifying this one more time. So this is real-time physical teaching via internet, we will call it like this.
Exactly, and the thing is with this, as you rightly said, it's all real time. So this is why, for example, the timetabling, we don't give it to you until closer to the time, because we want to see what time zones. If it was pre-recorded, we wouldn't have time zones considered. We'll be able to put everyone in one class, but we want to give them that real-time experience with all the other students, with the academic. It's all video calls, so you'll be able to have that available. So I always encourage people to give it a shot with online studies, because it's all real-time, it's all live there and then, it's not pre-recorded. So I won't say the person's name here. A prospective student from Nigeria. My questions are: 1, when are we supposed to start coming over to Berlin for October intake? To answer that question, I would not be able to answer it, unfortunately. I know Ghana opened up. I'm not quite sure about Nigeria as of yet. So you'll be able to start on campus whenever your embassy opens and approves your visa. I do not have a WASI scratch card, will be granted admissions. Unfortunately, if you do not have a WASI scratch card, you will need to provide some form of English proficiency. So even if you don't have this, you could still do the password test online as mentioned. What will the schedule be on the online classes? The schedule will be based on the cohort, based on who's in the class, what locations. So the schedule, Professor, if you'd like to shed some light, as in how many times a week, what hours each time?
If you are at the postgraduate level, we're working with modules. So we make a block of 4 hours multiplied by 5, practically 20 hours per week. And then plus we have also study material and interactive other workshops. For the postgraduate study, the normal, let's say, way of delivering within a term, the case of for the BA, for the Bachelor of Arts with Economics. In this case, we have 3 courses which are running, let's say, weekly within a block of 2 to 4 hours, depending on the workload that it exists there. So plus the study skills, plus the what we call a research methodology later on, plus German, let's say. So it is quite intensive. Plus, yeah, and also, as I said, we have many online resources that you have to work during your, I will call it free time, let's say, which will not be free.
Yeah, which goes on to the next question. How many hours can I work in a week while studying MBA? Well, as long as you abide by the visa regulations and do not breach it, usually it's 20 hours a week, but there is a limit as to how much per year. But you could double check with the embassy, they'll give you the full answers. So I am a graduate of business BBA, and I currently working as an assistant manager trainer in the Gambia. I've applied for a master in business and administration. I really wanted to start right away, but did some investment before the advert of COVID-19 versus my ROI. Those of you who don't know what it is, return of investment for now is too little to pay my installments. Will it be possible for a university to hire me lecturer in exchange for my tuition fees? I do not think that is possible, unfortunately, but you would need to speak to someone. If you're a current student, you would need to speak to the admin team, just let them know of your current scenario. Next one, my question is about studying procedure. As soon as the program starts, will we still be studying online as soon as we are in Germany? Well, it will be a mixture, like the professor said. If you're on campus, then we will make some arrangements. But as the next intake is October, we're hoping that things will be different then. So it's hard to say at the moment. Hi, I have a question. How much tuition fee and some semester fee can I finance myself in Berlin? All the fees are indicated online. So if you go onto our website, it will show you all the fees that are indicated per course. We charge for the entire year, so you could break it down, let's say over 6 months, for example, if you're doing an undergraduate course, postgraduate course. If you're doing an undergraduate, you could break it down over 6 months for each year. So first year fees, you pay within 6 months, and then second year fees, same thing. I am a postgraduate applicant who has submitted his full application pretty much a month ago. What is taking so long? Does this mean a rejection? I highly doubt that. So please, once again, send an email to info@BerlinSBI, and we'll be able to review that. But I'm pretty sure if you check your junk email, I'm 100% sure if you applied, the program consultants who are under my remit would have contacted you on numerous occasions. Most of the time it's the students not checking their emails, or it's in junk email. Do you suggest I should apply next year if I want to take classes on campus? Well, personally, this all comes down to yourself. With me, I would rather begin my studies now, just because I know if I wait until next year, I will probably not do it. This is the only problem. The longer we delay it, the more complacent we get. The more complacent we get, the less likely we're going to grow further. So it's just about doing it now, get it out of the way, start it. Because I'm sure many of you go into scenarios where you say, okay, I'm going to do this next week. Next week comes, you think, oh, I'll do it following week, I'll do it following week, and then to the point where you don't do it whatsoever. It's a bit extreme in comparison to studies, but this is still something to consider, because we all know we have a habit of delaying things, and the more we delay it, the less we achieve. The less we achieve, the less likely we'll be able to get to where we want to be. Okay, I think that is it in terms of questions. Oh, there was quite a few questions actually. Okay, well, thank you very much, guys. Thank you everyone for who attended this. I really hope this was useful, and I hope I answered quite a lot of the questions. But once again, those of you who are asking about your application, email info@berlinsbi.com, or myself, Ali Selman @berlinsbi.com, and we'll be able to look into it. But those of you who have applications and have not paid your deposits, take advantage now. My advice is take advantage of what we're offering now. Take advantage of everything. Start your studies. Do not delay it any further. We don't know how long this will go on for, but surely you would want to develop during that time period. So I would encourage everyone to do so and be able to really finalize this application to get to where you want to be, achieve your goals sooner than others, and be innovative, grow, develop your skills, make sure that you are ahead of others. And this is what it comes down to at the very end. We have plenty of resources for you to grow, be able to study academically, have an understanding, and also have first-hand experience. As the professor said, we still will do trips, we'll still have online, everything's online and interactive, nothing is pre-recorded for yourself, so you get first-hand experience as if you're in the classroom. We've had some really good virtual tours as well, which I believe the professor also done previously. So there's been a lot of interaction from BSBI. Borders may have closed, but BSBI has not closed. We've been open ever since, and we tackled everything from the very beginning, well before any other institution, and we are here to help the students. We want the students to get to where they want to be. Despite COVID, we want them to still achieve what they want and just have that ambition and that innovation to actually grow and develop again. But thank you very much, Professor. Your information was well, very useful. I learned quite a bit as well myself. So yeah, thank you to the professor. He's been a great help, first-hand experience, work-wise and also academically. It's great to have you on board, and I'm sure the students would enjoy everything you could bring to the table for them, and hopefully they could have that experience that they believe that BSBI will offer. And once again, guys, my name's Ali Salman. I'm the head of recruitment at BSBI. Do reach out if you do have any questions, but once again, let's embrace the moment. Let's make sure we do everything we want to do now and not delay it any further. So thank you all once again for attending this webinar. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed those questions. It's probably quite a large number of questions, quite detailed, a lot of them about visas, but if you don't ask, you won't know. So same thing, if you do have any other questions, reach out to your advisor or reach out to info, and we'll be more than happy to help you from there. So perfect. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you all have a great morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're based, and hopefully we'll be welcoming you all to BSBI. Thanks, guys. Take care.